Welcome to the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright, an exciting thrill ride through the wonderful world of HBCU athletics. Before our trip begins, let's set a few ground rules. First, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Second, hit the like button. Third, please be sure to tell someone else about this show. Now that we've got these things out of the way, it's time for our journey to begin. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your ride.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another spectacular edition of Wild Picks on a Wild Wednesday on the ride. And tonight, I am joined by my special guest, my girl Dez. What's going on?
Good evening. Good evening. So happy to be here. I like your little ride introduction.
Hey,
you
know,
the one where it's like it looks like a little U and you're going down. Like that'll make it even better.
Yeah, I love roller coasters, and HBCU sports is such a roller coaster ride, and this football season, oh my God, has been an incredible ride. And we're looking forward to a great week number 10. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to go through all the games. And listen, everybody that's tuning in, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and also I'm going to make sure that everybody gets a chance to follow and subscribe to Dez. Pretty Girls Love Sports. She's doing her thing. I first met her at SWAC Media Day. So, I'm just really glad to have you on, and glad that you can get on this roller coaster.
Yes, of course. I don't actually like roller coasters. I don't like heights. So, but I ain't no punk either.
Well, all right. Well, let's get to it. Y'all know what we do. We going right here to Big South OVC. We'll start off with Tennessee State. All right, so Tennessee State last week, it was a tough one for them. They lost 17-16 at home against Western Illinois, and that kept them winless in Big South OVC play. This week, they welcomed the Lions of Lindenwood into Nashville and Nissan Stadium. This game's at their typical time, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 in the Central. When they played last year, they played in October there in St. Charles, Missouri, where Lindenwood is located. Tennessee State won 24-20. This game will be on ESPN Plus. Now, Lindenwood, they come in. It's been a little bit up and down for these guys. I know their record at 3-5. It's a little bit misleading because these guys in the games that they've played, they've competed in. They've lost a lot of close ones. Whereas on the other side for Tennessee State, last week was a 17-16 game, and what was a very winnable game because it was the two teams that were at the bottom of the standings in the Big South OVC. But Tennessee State they've had a tough go. They had the homecoming win a couple weeks ago against Howard, but for the most part, it's been a little bit lopsided. Now, Byron McNair, quarterback, he's been a bright spot for them. He's been able to stabilize things at that quarterback position, but they've had trouble running the ball. They've had trouble on defense, and Reggie Barlow has really tried hard to try to get this thing in the right order. But, it's been a bit of a struggle. And Lindenwood comes in 2-2 in Big South OVC play, looking to get another one, and they're a decided favorite in this one. So, Dez, based off of what I've said, what are your feelings about this one?
Yeah, so I have to say that head coach, previous head coach at Edward Waters, Coach Morgan, is actually one of my favorite coaches. So I'm like, go Tim. I'm always like, go Tim. I was because he's over there, the OC, and really just doing their thing. And I think it's one of those schools where it's like it's almost there, but it's just not quite there. And I feel like that's kind of been their identity for a little while. And for me, I like stats as well. So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, Lindenwood, you're saying that they're losing close games, and it shows. Their quarterback is he could be a little bit more efficient, but he has so far 13 touchdowns on the season. But on the flip side, his inaccuracies come in because he has 6 interceptions. So it's like, okay, you kind of gotta balance that out because you have just half of your touchdowns in interceptions. So that's a thing that they have to really just hone in. And defensively, I don't know if Tennessee State is actually there. Will they compete? Absolutely. But I don't think that defensively they're going to give them too much of a shake. I think Lindenwood will come out. They're led by Nate. And, he is at 18 for yards on the season so far. So he doesn't have a problem with throwing that thing, as I like to say. And I think it's going to be a good one. I always like to say, okay, I'm going to root for the underdog at this point because, they're at home. But I don't know. I think Lindenwood's going to take this one just based off of comparability when I'm looking at like quarterbacks that I'm thinking about defensively and just, overall what's to come. They're 0-4 in the I'm assuming in the conference. So
yes, in the conference.
Yeah. So I think they're going to, but you never know. Sometimes it's like, okay, maybe week 10 is the week. Maybe they're a little hype, Sometimes they have a little chip on their shoulder, like they just as good as us. We can beat them, but I don't know. I'm saying Lindenwood on this one.
All right, and I'll take your Lindenwood and I'll raise you another Lindenwood. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I think that Tennessee State is going to make this a 4-quarter game, but ultimately I think Lindenwood's going to take this one. I've got it 28-17. So, but Tennessee State, they will continue to fight and play hard, and Reggie Barlow's going to get those guys together. I say it all the time. You better get them boys now, because when he gets his program in order, they're going to be tough to beat. So, all right. Now we get to the one CAA game that we have to cover this week. With Hampton being off, what we have for you is a very familiar team that I've talked about on this show now for the 3rd time this season. The Towson Tigers. Earlier this year, they played in the opener at Norfolk, and then they also played against Morgan State, and they won both of those games, so you can probably say they're 2-0 in the MEAC. But this game is at Truist Stadium there in Greensboro, taking on the North Carolina A&T Aggies, who are feeling good about themselves after getting a win last week, 28-24 over those Campbell Fighting Camels, where Elijah Kennedy was the man of the hour, returning a 96-yard punt return and an 85-yard kickoff return in the 4th quarter to help the Aggies get their 2nd CAA win on the season. So this game is at high noon in the East. And they played last year. Towson took them out 31-13. It'll be on Flow College Sports, as it always is in the CAA. Now, I got a few notes right here for the folks. All right, so Towson, they've lost 3 straight and 5 of the last 6 games. They had a really good start, but now it's been a little bit of a struggle for Pete Shinnick's group. They're 5 of their last 6. They lost to Maryland, no slouch in that. Youngstown State, really good team. Elon, they're pretty solid. Monmouth is ranked 9th in America right now, and Stony Brook is not bad in CAA either. So they've lost to some quality opponents, and they've been some close games. Here's the thing that's been the bugaboo for Towson. They're averaging just 90 yards per game rushing. That is not going to get it done in 2025. You got to be able to run that ball. And they allow 166. Allowing 166, that's admirable. That's actually middle of the pack in FCS numbers. Freshman quarterback Andrew Endorf, he's been a bright spot for them. 59% completion percentage, averaging 187 yards passing per game. Been pretty good for him. That running game, it started well. It's fizzled of late. Now, switching the gears to the other side. Speaking of the losing games by close margins, the Aggies have lost 4 of their 6 games by 1-score margins. They've lost to Maine, William and Mary, who they had a lead late against. They lost the opener to Tennessee State, and they also lost against South Carolina State. Now, they allowed just 108 yards rushing per game, which, if you think of the contrast of styles, that's pretty good matching up against Towson, who struggles to run it, right? But since returning from injury, Kevin White, 60% completion percentage, 212 yards average per game passing. It's been pretty good for those guys. Sean Gibbs done a great job. Pete Shinnick, very quality coach, longtime offensive mind from West Florida, done some big things. This is a lot in this game. So where you go on this one, Dez?
Yeah, you did give me a lot. And I was over here looking, I'm like, what are these margins? You're saying that Towson's losing there. Really the largest margin was Maryland, rightfully so. Maryland's not a slouch there. So it's kind of like one of those things where you just maybe not count Maryland, right? But looking at the other games, they're losing, 2 points. I mean, against Elon did kind of do the thing. Monmouth, they held it in. Stony Brook held it in. So I feel like they're right there. They're right there. They just have to, one, improve that rushing game, because 90 yards, what is that? You should have one player at 90 yards. But to be fair, I think A&T had 88 yards their last rushing game. So, I get they're kind of similar when you look at both teams and you look at what they have. I do think looking at this TSU, South Carolina State, Maine, William & Mary, part of me wants to say that Towson has played just a little harder teams, so they have that edge over them because they already have played the harder teams and they've played the higher staked HBCU games, so they kind of know how to go into this familiar territory and getting themselves comfortable and really going in there to just make a difference. So I think that's why they have the edge here. But I feel like A&T is either going to go one or two ways. They're either going to still be on that high and then they're going to basically not play to the standard that they need to play to beat Towson, or that high is going to stay with them and they're going to want to continue to be productive and they're going to want to keep winning, and then they're going to beat Towson. So this is a little bit of a toss-up for me because I feel like both these teams, again, are right there, but I feel like they both are almost as good as each other when you look at it in retrospect in terms of stats, completion rate, and overall just leverage of who they've played. Part of me wants to say that Towson's going to go 3 for 3 over the HBCUs, but I don't know. This one's at home. It's nothing like an A&T home game. Nothing like it, right? You just they get there, they get feeling good, the band gets going, the crowd is there, like they're loyal to their team. So I feel like A&T could out-edge them by a small margin, like maybe 3 points.
So you're going A&T by 3.
Okay. I don't know. I gotta think about my answer here. Okay. Because when I first heard, I'm like, okay, Towson's going to take that. Like, they're going to take that. But I don't know. Oh, gosh. They lost by 1 score margins. I don't think they'll. Oh, my gosh. This is hard for me. Sometimes I just have, can it just end in a tie? I don't know. It's not the NFL. They don't do that. I feel like he's returning from injury. Okay. I'm gonna hope A&T doesn't make me eat my words here. I'm gonna go with the Aggies. I'm gonna say by 3. I'm gonna say
okay. All right. So you go Aggies by 3. I'm going Towson Tigers by 3. I'm going.
So let's agree on the by 3. We agree on that part. I don't know. That's why I feel like it's going to be really, really close. Either one is going to out-edge the other. I feel like it may be like one of those walk-off field goal situations. I feel like it may be something like that. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout on either side, though.
Yeah, I got the Towson Tigers getting the win and going 3-0 over HBCU. So yeah. Shout out to A&T though. All right, so now we turn the page and we get into the MEAC. All right, now we've got Morgan State coming off a very heartbreaking overtime loss at Howard last Saturday. They take their talents down to South Carolina State, who's flying high after a 51-20 win over Norfolk State last week. Ruined their homecoming, did all things well. Big 35-point second quarter led to that win. This game's at Oliver Dawson Stadium down there in Orangeburg, 2 p.m. kickoff. They played last year, South Carolina State. This actually was the clinching game for them to win the MEAC last year up there in Baltimore, 54-7 last year. This will be on ESPN Plus, and this is the second game in MEAC play. And Billy Atkins last week was the star of the show for South Carolina State. 428 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Now, here's the diagnostics. They're averaging 280 yards per game passing, right? That is 8th nationally, 8th in the FCS in passing offense. And they're allowing just 116 yards rushing. That's 14th nationally, okay? And also, they're 14th nationally in total defense, okay? One thing that they don't do well, though, talking about South Carolina State, is they struggle to run the football. But, hey, if you're throwing the ball for 280 a game, hey, what rushing offense?
Who needs to run?
And then you look on the other side, Morgan State. You know, I know MEAC Mike, he'll probably be looking at this. Shout out to you, brother. They have no Division I wins this year. They've got 2 D2s, and I don't know what the hell Virginia Lynchburg is. but there are 3 wins against non-Division I opponents. All right. They allow 201 yards passing, and they average 171 yards rushing. That 171 rushing, that is one of the things that they can hang their hat on. And also, they're 28th in the FCS in total defense. That's pretty doggone good. All right. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah. So although I have my feelings, those who know about how I feel about South Carolina.
I know.
Okay. You know, those who know. I've been very, that's just one of my things. I just put it out there. But I love me head coach Wilson. I really, really do. I feel like he's a phenomenal person, phenomenal coach, and what he stands for academically, also just on the field as well. But what you stand for academically translates to what it's going to be on the field. I know that this season is not looking anything like what they projected to come in as and what they really wanted to see. Obviously, it's a kind of like a no-brainer. South Carolina has been good the past few seasons, so that there are no slouches there. So no matter how I feel, I got to be, we're being honest here. I think that their rushing game was an issue a little bit last season as well, but they really came up in terms of their quarterback play. And really, if you can win it in the air, I mean, that's really hard for any team to kind of stop you in terms of getting you down there, because a lot of times it's defenses have issues with either they're going to have problems with stopping the run, or he's going to air that thing out and you're just like, I don't even know where we're going. So the defenses are going to have a hard time when they're probably expecting the team to run and they just don't run at all. So I think any good coach coming in would know and watch film and look at it. And it's like, okay, they're not a good run team, so we should not be playing any, we shouldn't be playing certain covers or certain mans. Like we need to get down there. Obviously, I think that South Carolina is going to win. I don't think, and they're at home. So that's not something that I'm taking from there, but I do think that defensively, I think that Morgan State is going to give them a little more trouble than they are expecting to get, in my opinion, because their defense is all right. I just like they have no offensive identity at this point. They remind me of my Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. Where's the identity at? We don't know what the identity is. So definitely for sure, I think South Carolina is going to win. I don't want to say they're going to win by a large margin, but it'll be big enough because I don't think that offensively Morgan State is at a position where they can actively compete against a team like South Carolina State.
Yeah, and essentially for me, this is South Carolina State realizing that they've got some bigger fish to fry in front of them.
Right.
They need to take care of this one because down the road, they've got a big one against North Carolina Central.
Right.
And then they've also got a big one at the close of their schedule with a now surging Delaware State. So this is one that I expect them to take care of business.
Yeah.
I think to your point, Damon Wilson, good dude. He had explosive offenses at Bowie State, but it has not been able to translate over to Morgan State. I think that air show is going to be in full effect, and I got 41-20 South Carolina State taking this one, and I think this is going to be in a nice little runaway. But Morgan State, they'll fight, but I think this is essentially going to be the ender of their season because they're going to go to 0-2, and when you start 0-2 in MEAC now with 5 games,
you're done. There's not really much more. I mean, I feel like they was already out when they got the first loss. I feel like they didn't really have those chances were done. Right, those chances were done, and I want to touch on really quickly before we move on to the next one. But talking about like what he has done and what Coach Wilson has done at Bowie State. At some point, it's like, okay, how do we get it to translate from Bowie State to Morgan State? Obviously, two different divisions coming up, two different caliber of play, and when you play in these different teams, a CIAA play is way different than MEAC play, way different than playing these other D1 schools that you're going up against. So you really have to find the reason. I think a lot of these schools, when we're talking about it, you have to find the reason of why these players want to come to play at your institution. Why do they want to be on your team, in your program? And I do have to give Coach Berry credit there. I feel like he has a lot of buy-in with that program, and it's just progressively getting better over time. The buy-in is getting bigger when you speak to those guys at media days, because didn't go this year, but I went last year. But talking to those guys, you really understand and you get to see that they're really bought in. Like they're literally regurgitating, and I'm not saying in a bad way, but they're literally regurgitating what the standards are out of their mouth, from the way that they dress, from the way they look, from the way that they speak, their excitement about the game. So I do give him credit when it comes to that. Like the program is the program, this is the standard, and we're not straying away from the standard. If you can't get with the standard, you would have to leave. Or go find you somewhere else to go find you somebody else to play with, something safe to do. But that's not what's happening there. So I think it's showing in their numbers, and it's showing in their season.
Yeah. So Chennis Berry keeping those boys rolling. That's how I feel about this one. All right, now we move to the next one. All right, now, hey, look at Howard coming off that win in overtime last week. They host North Carolina Central. Man, coming in off of that homecoming defeat against Delaware State. This is getting late now for the Eagles coming down on the road. It's getting late. Howard, they feel pretty good about themselves after that win. It wasn't pretty, and everybody in America didn't necessarily see it because they had technical difficulties on ESPN Plus. But it is what it is. They're 1-0, and they've got a grand opportunity here at Green Stadium, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kick. They played last year. This was the game last year where they had the brawl, and a lot of people got
I covered that. Yes.
Yeah. This is the return match there now. So this will be on ESPN Plus. A few of the notes here. All right. I took a few. I've been mixing it up in my bag tonight. Here's a few of the pertinent stats. Okay. North Carolina Central, they like to light the scoreboard up a little bit. They like to keep the scoreboard operator a little bit busy. Where Howard, they do it in a different way. You know what I'm saying? They like to run it, and they like to play defense. Okay. The passing offense has been one of the strengths that North Carolina Central has had with Walker Harris. He had a pretty good game last week, throwing for 354 yards. They're 273 yards per game average. That's right up there in the FCS. Okay. And then Howard on the ground and defense, they're pretty good. They're pretty good on defense all the way around. Mm-hmm. You see, they're 14th in the FCS in total defense, just allowing a stingy 308 yards per game. That is definitely going to be put to test against North Carolina Central, who likes to play fast, likes to play wide open. Chris Mosley running that ball. They like to get Chase Peterson involved with the passing game. They like to get even Walker Harris will mix it up and run the ball. So in the games that Howard has won, they've run the ball well. You've seen Anthony Reagan. He had a 100-yard game last week, right? Tariq Starks, he found a little bit of his passing mojo last week. He really hadn't been able to throw the ball that well. And then North Carolina Central, surprisingly, they were pushed around in the trenches by Delaware State with their run game. So, look, Trey Oliver, when we talked to him on Monday on the coach's call, he was, obviously, not surprisingly, he was upset. You could tell he's got a different focus now because they want to get back in the win column, and they know how badly they need this. Both teams need this for a couple reasons. Howard needs this because at 1-0, you get this win. Now you're starting to think, okay, we got a real shot to win this thing and get to Atlanta. This is the quest for survival for North Carolina Central. Yeah. They need help. If you lose this game, just like we said about Morgan State, it is OVA, over. Your thoughts about this game?
OVA?
Yeah, it's OVA. Over.
My brain was like, OVE. What?
All right, your thoughts on this game, Dez?
Okay, so I had to look up. I wanted to see an angry. Okay, I had to look up to see. I'm like, okay, Howard, who have they lost to? Because I think the losses matter, right? When you look at they lost to Tennessee State. What are we talking about? What are we doing? Barely beat, 33-27 against Morgan State. I mean, we just talked about how Morgan State has struggled. So usually defense wins you the game. That's how you win it in the trenches, usually, right? But looking at how they've lost and the teams that they've lost to is kind of like, it's kind of give you a side eye. And again, head coach Scott is one of my favorite coaches. There's some people, I think I may have more favorite coaches in the MEAC than I do the SWAC. And I don't know how they got
it's all good.
But Coach Scott is my guy, literally my guy. And I'm so excited to get to see him this year and chastise them all. But Trey Oliver is the same way for me, like having sitting across from him at the MEAC SWAC Challenge and seeing his team. I did not expect the team to really lose at all. And I really thought that Central and South Carolina State will be at the top of the MEAC as they have been. And I think it's going to continue to be that way. I think that in this case, yes, defense wins you the game, but Howard has to have some type of stronger offensive identity, which we've seen it fold time and time again. And I think head coach Trey Oliver does a great job when it comes to firing the boys up. And I love the fact that even though he'll say like they didn't play a full game, there was not four quarters of football. Like I see it very differently. I see it that they play it through and through. This is something great that both South Carolina and Central they do together. It's all about them Carolinas. The Carolinas is bringing it. The Carolinas is bringing it. Right? They're bringing it. And I think that coming off of that loss, I think that they're going to have Howard's number once again. I think that offensively, that's how they're going to win this game. I think offensively, though, they're going to win strictly off of that. Defense is going to do their work. So defense is not going to make it easy in terms for Howard. It's not going to make it easy. But when I'm looking at you watch that film, like you lost to Tennessee State, you know what I'm saying? You lost to Sacred Heart, you lost to Richmond. Like what is we talking about? Like that's no excuse. Temple's okay. Temple, I understand how you lost to Temple. Okay, I understand because Temple's building up something good. But some of these teams, Tennessee State, those losses to me are unexplainable. How are you losing to these teams that you should be beating, and then you think that you're going to come in and beat Central? So I don't. And again, I love head coach Scott. So part of me is like they're going to pull it out, but the other part of me is like I know that head coach Trey over there and his team, they're no slouches, and they're going to come in really wanting blood because they want to get back to winning. So I think Central out-edges them in this game.
So I take your Central and I raise your Central. I think that Central is going to come in this thing like my boy Ray said. They're going to be angry, and HU has to match that energy. I don't think they're going to be able to match it for a full 4 quarters. I think Central does enough to win this game. Howard's going to challenge them defensively. They definitely are going to do that. But give me the Eagles 31-21. All right. So, hey, everybody, make sure you hit the like button as we get ready to go to our next game, which is the big one in the MEAC tomorrow night. Yes. Tomorrow night, ESPNU. First Take was there in Dover, Delaware this morning. You got the Delaware State Hornets led by Deshaun Jackson. And they're taking on a struggling Norfolk State team who's 1-7. Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia for this one. They played last year in Norfolk, and Norfolk won 38-19. And look, we got all the storylines. You got the former teammates getting together once again. You look at them. Look at those young studs right there.
Look at DJ.
Because they were Philadelphia Eagle teammates.
They're going back home.
Yep,
Okay.
going back home, man. And you look at D-Jack, man. That was before the dreads. He had a few less tattoos.
You know, that's when he was terrorizing people. Still, he was terrorizing people for sure.
Hey, look, this is when both of these dudes were some dogs. Look at them. They said young bucks.
Yeah, they were.
Now you look at them, both of them coaching now. Who'd have thunk it? Now they get together and they get it rolling for the very first time together tomorrow night. And here's what you got. You know these boys, Delaware State, they're going to run that ball now. First in America in rushing. Last week they got 280. They got 281 last week. So their 327 average dropped to a small 316 yards per game now. All right. But last week at Central, it was the passing game that really stepped up. Caden Bennett threw for 212 pass yards, and 5 of those passes that he completed and 124 yards went to Najee Lolly, 3 touchdowns. And then you look on the other side, man. Dez, they're Norfolk State tied for 106th in America in turnover margin. They've turned it over 13 times versus 8 times they've taken it away. And last week, they allowed 428 pass yards and 185 yards rushing last week. For Norfolk State, it's been the same repeated story every week. If we don't turn the ball over, we find a way to shoot ourselves in the foot another way. Defensively, we just can't make enough stops. Otto Coons has been a bright spot for them at quarterback. He's throwing for some yards and everything like that, but but you know, it's always about what could go wrong, will go wrong.
Listen, you can't allow 428, 420.
And 185 rushing.
What? You can't allow that. Okay. So I said this, and I ruffled some feathers. And that's just what I do. That's what I do. I didn't realize I'm wearing green. I'm wearing green for the game tomorrow.
Come on with it.
I'm wearing green because I look great in green. I look great in green and pink and green. Okay. No. First of all, I have so much to say here, but I ruffled feathers because I was like, you know what? All that media attention and talk and jazz and that Michael Vick got, I think it should have went to Coach Jackson. And I said that, and I stand on that because why? It's a tenfold. But why? Because he's actually putting his money where his mouth is. He said that he want to turn around the team. They're going to fight. They're going to be is always a head-to-head. They're going to show up as their best. They're going to do their best. And literally, he's turned the program around like that. Literally, whatever he's doing, whatever he's done, whatever it is, he has got the buy-in, and you see the production on the field. And a lot of the MEAC and media coverage in general just kept talking about Mike Vick, like that's all that we got. So they throw a little bit in there with Deshaun Jackson and things, but not as much, as nearly as I believe that he should have gotten. But it also was a win for him because he didn't have to worry about the media noise. He could just hush out like, they're not worrying about me. I'm not worrying about them. We're going to go and do our thing. We're going to show you better than we could tell you, because you didn't give us an opportunity to really show. Like, you didn't really give us our moment for real. You kept giving them all their moments. Oh, they're gonna be the top of the MEAC. They're coming in and winning it all. Norfolk State, huh? Who said what? No, everyone said it. You're not doing that. You're not doing that, right? You're literally not doing that, right? So it's like, I mean, how is this? How could this be? How could this be? Oh, Mike Vick's the better coach. Is he now? Because stats don't lie. You have first in FCS rushing. Stats do not lie. I'm a stats person. I'm looking at the facts. Facts don't lie. And a lot of people's like, oh, he need more time to turn around. That's not what y'all said. They said he was going to the Celebration Bowl. And I think they may be going to the Celebration Bowl to visit, to be fans in the stands, but not to be playing on the field. That's not what it's looking like to me. So I felt as though there was some disregard there. And I'm like, okay, Sure. we'll see what it's about. But when I look at these programs, Norfolk State did a down dive, nose dive. It's no way that they looked. I mean, they weren't that good last year either. The year before, they kind of were. But to be in the exact same predicament when we had all these different things coming around, there's no way that this team should be where it is right now. I'm sorry, it's just not. There's no way that their defense is allowing 428 passing yards. I don't care if it's South Carolina or the University of South Carolina. It's no way that you should be allowing 428 passing yards, period. It's no way, right? I just don't get that. And you had Delaware State was literally bottom of the barrel, slump juice. And now they darn near about to be at the top of the MEAC. I don't want to hear it. So
you got a big margin here for Delaware State. You think this is a one-sided?
I think it's gonna be. I think this may be the time where they turn it around. Like, oh, we playing at Lincoln. This our moment. It's big games for both of them, right? They're gonna go head to head. So maybe it won't be a large margin. I think they'll be competitive. I mean, hell, you allowed 428 points. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. I can't even,
Yeah, I like these comments. He said, here's the thing around turning around the team. He said, Chennis Berry, yeah, he did it last year. Tremaine Jackson, he's done it now. Yep, players, yep. Deshaun Jackson did it on the run. Yep. So here's my pick. I think Norfolk State, I think they're going to have a lot of emotions in the beginning. I think maybe, they'll probably compete for a half, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, listen.
You got Deshaun Jackson as your coach, the road runner.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course they got rushing. Of course they rushing you. What? Come on.
So I'm going 45-28 here. I got Delaware State taking them down, and the two share a nice long embrace at midfield. Good job, my brother. Love you, bro. Yeah, love you too, man. As one goes on, marching on towards trying to get to Atlanta, as the other one begins to think about the off season.
Right. Hello. There's no trip to Cancun though. You need to get back on that field and then reconstruct what y'all doing over there. It's not
there.
It
is. There it is. So hey, everybody, hit the like button. Everybody, share this show as we go to the SWAC. Now we're in the SWAC, ladies and gentlemen.
These are my guys. No. The MEAC are my guys too. Like I said, I have some favorite coaches over there, some favorite coaches over here, but my dogs is over here.
Yeah, so this one, hey, shout out to Valley. I love my guy T-Buck.
I'm also green for Valley.
Love my guy T-Buck. Hey, gotta shout him out. You know what I'm saying? But you know what, man? Listen, I don't have no notes for this one, ladies and gentlemen, because Valley's been on the struggle bus.
There's no notes.
There ain't no notes for this one. Listen, Bethune-Cookman. Look, that offense has been moving. Last week, they did it more so rushing. Cam Ransom, he ran for a couple touchdowns. Listen, this is just another one of those games that Bethune-Cookman, they just need to take care of their business, stay on track. Next week, they go down to Grambling. That's going to be a big one, but you need to stay on track for this one before you get to Grambling because, in 2 weeks, they got the big one in Jackson. So they need to stay on the road and stay there in tune in that SWAC East race. And don't allow Valley to get no confidence. This game be on SWAC TV. They played last year in Itabena. That was Valley's homecoming at the time. Bethune-Cookman won 20-10. So you see Bethune-Cookman winning this one pretty easily.
First of all, why do these teams be booking these real other good teams for their homecomings? I don't understand. The homecoming game is supposed to be that at minimum the one game a year that you win. At minimum.
Well, hey, Valley's one win this year was against Lincoln, which was their homecoming. So hey, but yeah, shout out to T-Buck though. Love you, brother. But yeah, listen. Bethune-Cookman gonna take care of that business.
I've said this before. I have a close tie. I have a close tie. Well, I used to have a close tie with Valley. Valley was one of the schools when Coach Wade was there, where I actually went in and got to have like a week in the life. Yeah, I would love to do it again. So anybody sees, I would love to come and do it again. I did some great content, interviews, and things like that. But I have a close tie with Bethune-Cookman in general. I was going to say Woody. I was going to say his name's totally different. Head coach Woody. I think that the fact that I love coaches where I've seen them year in and year out, and they remember me. Whether they see me once a year, twice a year, 3 times a year, and you remember who I am, I have the utmost respect for you for that. But I did say on my previous podcast on my show, I was like, if Woody, if they don't turn this thing around, because last season they won 3 or 4 games.
3 games.
So right now they're already better. Like they get better every year. But I was like, if they don't start winning some games, he's gonna be looking at that job. That job's gonna be on the line. And that's it. It still could be, but how they've progressively gotten better is just great. One of my 2 favorites that I've been rooting for all season. I'm gonna say their nicknames because that's how you want me to call them. But Leaky or Malik and Sosa. Them being over there is like, I'm rooting for them. Obviously, like getting to sit down and talk with them and really see just how they've been building into the program. And I think this is one of the programs where they're just unspoken. They're just, nobody is counting on them. Nobody is rooting for them. Everybody's like, Bethune, but at the bottom. But right now, Bethune is 3rd in the East. Who saw that coming? And when I said that before, I was like, I said, don't sleep on Bethune. Everybody was down my throat. Everybody was like, ain't no way. Look where they are now. So yeah, I see the progress. I've seen it. I think this score may be a little closer maybe, but they really have turned. When I say it's like they were 1 sleep away and they just turned it around. And now it's like, okay.
Yeah, they're right in this thing.
Yeah, they're starting to really they're understanding what their program is what it's about. I think they're starting to understand their coach. They're starting to get the rhythm, the eds and the flows, and they've had some really hard games at the beginning. They played University of Miami at the beginning of the season. That right there is a battle test. You lost, but if you can go in there and say, okay, this is what it's like to face this type of caliber team, there's nothing that we can't do. So I've been a big rooter of Bethune. Go Wildcats. You do your thing. I'm rooting for my guys, man. So I think they're going to. They
Look,
better.
He said, one day, Valley. One day.
One day. Just not
one
today.
One day. And then said Bethune-Cookman either going to be a Cinderella team or a heck of a spoiler. And then look, Jackson State folks checking
Come
in.
on,
Valley. Look, they trying to get Valley to knock Bethune-Cookman out of there.
Look, Jackson holding strong up there now. They holding strong. It's
Yeah, well, we gonna get to Jackson State a little bit coming up here. It's coming up. All right, we go to Pine. Hey, there's my guy. Here's my guy from Pine Bluff. We go to Pine Bluff. All right, hey, Southern 1-7. Still looking to get on the board there in the SWAC West. Last week they played really, really hard with the first game of the interim tenure of Coach Fred McNair. They fell 43-35. It was their best offensive output of the season.
Yeah.
UAPB, they
Coach Hampton.
yeah, Coach
That's
Hampton.
my guy.
Hey, Coach Hampton was just darn near broke out in a sermon on the coach's call on Monday. He was talking about, hey, I've had some good days, I've had some bad days.
Listen. What did he tell me at SWAC meeting? They don't know who we are. They don't know what we got going on. That is my guy. One of my other favorites. Coach Hampton again, and we're like near birthday twins. That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
Yeah. He's and the thing about him, he's really tried every which way to try to get this program going. It ain't for the lack of. It ain't because he ain't tried, and you can see it. He said that he watched the game from last week. He watched it 3 times, and this was on Monday. He watched it 3 times already. So this guy, he works tirelessly. And this is a game that this can go either way. They played last year. This was the game that Southern actually clinched the SWAC West in last year at home. I remember this was the big man, Willie Miles touchdown game. 31-9 was the score in that one. This one will be on SWAC TV. Okay, so Southern, they come into this game, obviously playing for next year. Yeah, they're playing for next year. And it's getting late. to try to get some wins in SWAC play. I think this game right here between the two, I think the running game of Southern, and it started to wake up a little bit last week. And one of the things that UAPB has struggled with is trying to stop the run. I think both teams will definitely try to get going. He said that's Hampton's problem. He needs some rest. Take a nap, renew your mind, brother. Oh, that's funny. He says SU finally gets that SWAC win. All right, so what do you say about this? Who do you think gets this one and why?
Would it be a surprise if UAPB wins this game? I just want to say to everybody that was in the comments that were trying to eat me alive when I said that UAPB is going to be the unexpected team out in the West. I want you to apologize to me. I want you to come in my DMs the same way you came in my DMs and told me that I was so wrong. Listen, I like to call people out because I know what I be talking about. I know what I see. I'm a study of the game. People think I'm a girl. They say, oh, she a girl. She don't know what she's talking about. Hello? Could you ever think that UAPB would be better than Southern right now?
Nobody.
Huh? Did you think that? They 3-5, man. Come on. Last year there was what? There was 1 in 10 or whatever. Like, I don't know.
3 and 9 last year.
Yeah, come on. So already, again, making progress. And again, I bought into the program when I talked to Coach Hampton. He was one of the only coaches at SWAC meeting that sat down with me right away and talked with me. So boom. I think that I feel like this Southern could get a win here because they're trying to turn up that new leaf. They get their first SWAC win. But something in me is like, nah, UAPB is they're not going to let them down. They're not going to let them have it like that. It's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. They're at home. It ain't gonna be that easy. Because how would that look, right? Last year you beat them 31-9, and then this year they turn around and beat you. Oh man.
So you going UAPB?
Oh man. I don't know. I don't want to pick.
Okay, that's fine. But said Brass, my guy, said, where's my apology on PV? Hey, we're gonna get to PV in a minute there, said Brass.
Oh, I'm gonna say it wasn't me, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
So and hey, what's up, Brandy? She said SU wins. I
think Southern could win. I think they can win.
I agree with you, Brandy. I think it's gonna be a close game though. Give me Southern 30-27. Yeah, I think Southern, they get on the board. They ride their running game and they ride right on out of Pine Bluff with their first SWAC victory, and that'll bring them to 2-7 on the season. But hey, man, shout out to Coach Hampton though. Works hard.
I just can't see Southern going like winning no game in the SWAC in SWAC play. I can't see that. So that's why I'm like, I think that they can win this. But that's why it's not going to be easy. They're not going to be no slouches. They're not going to let up on them easy. But I think that they're just not going to go. They're not going to go.
Well, if they don't win this game,
because the rest of
they don't win this game. They got Texas Southern left. They got Alcorn. Well, maybe Alcorn.
Maybe.
And then they got the classic at the end. But man, you better get this win.
Yeah, like this is a must win game for them. So I feel like
you don't go over.
Yeah, like you.
Anyhow, all right, we go to the next one. And speaking of Alcorn and Texas Southern, this is the HBCU Go game this week. Afternoon affair down there in Shell Energy Stadium in Houston. Texas Southern had a bye week last week. Coach Dishman, as he always was on the SWAC media call, he was very talkative. That's a little bit of sarcasm because he doesn't say much. Alcorn, they got a win last week over Valley. They got on the board in SWAC play. So they take their talents down there. This game last year, they played in November. Alcorn won 42-21. Just a little bit about this game right here. Texas Southern, everybody knows where they sit in the West. They pretty much need to win their last 4 games, and they need Prairie View to lose twice. So Alcorn, they have been, they've wasted a lot of opportunities this year. They shot themselves in the foot with a lot of mistakes throughout the season. And unfortunately, I think they've kind of hit the end of the road here. With just on this season. I mean, they're still going to play hard, and there's going to be rumors and things that are going to circle around about Coach Cedric Thomas, about his tenure. we'll see how that goes. But, they come down to Houston and, they're going to play hard. So we're going to see what happens because these two, they tend to go back and forth. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I feel like Texas Southern is just Texas Southern. I haven't seen much of a difference between the seasons, and I haven't paid too much attention because I haven't really, Alcorn, I had to make sure I say it right because I got yelled at the last time. Yeah. They're not the same team that they were last season at all. And that's disappointing. But I think that Texas Southern is going to take this. I'm not going to go into a rant. I think Texas Southern pulls one out at home. They get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got 31-20 here. I think Alcorn is going to fight a bit. I think KJ Cooper with his timely passing and also get a ball to Athian Renfro. That's always a good thing. Mm-hmm. He's a pretty good back for you guys. And I think that they stay in line and they keep going with a 31-20 win. All right, now we go down to Grambling in my Alabama A&M Bulldogs.
That energy was off. You need to try that again.
Okay, it is what it is. My Alabama A&M Bulldogs, they go down to Grambling. Grambling is riding high as high could be after getting that victory out in Vegas last week.
Okay, Vegas on it, G-Men.
That was a great game last week, and they returned back home to Eddie G. Robinson Stadium. Afternoon affair, 3 p.m. Eastern. On SWAC TV. They played last year on a Thursday night, and A&M won for the third consecutive year over Grambling. Now, here's where everything gets crazy in this game, okay? For A&M, starting quarterback Quad Brown, he's out for the season, ladies and gentlemen. He had ankle surgery. Backup Eric Hanley, he hurt his shoulder in the Magic City Classic last week.
Just cancel the game.
He's questionable. So if Hanley can't start, third string Xavier Wright or J.D. Davis, the fourth stringer who came in the game last week, either one of those two guys would start if Hanley is out. Now, but as they say on game shows, but wait, there's more. If you go to Grambling, as you know, and we're still praying for ZT said that was a tough hit, and he's he's progressing, but he's not going to play in this game. And backup Ashton Fry, who was hurt during the Texas Southern game, he's also out. Third string, true freshman quarterback, Eamon Derensburg will be the starting quarterback for Grambling in this one. And what does that mean? That means running backs Trey Bradford and Byron Eaton will have big roles. And as my guy Blue said, the battle of the Wildcat formation.
Literally, just cut the quarters in half. Just wow.
Hey,
wow.
At this point, they might be soliciting anybody in the stands that has any quarterback or anybody on the roster.
Can you play?
Have you played quarterback?
Come here.
Can you hand the ball off? Give me your thoughts on this game, sis.
I think they both toe up from the flow up. My golly. Everybody there. If you at the game, you just there to have a good time. You're not there to see no game. What a way to start though. True freshman coming out with the debut. At least it's against a team that's beat up too. So you kind of you're not at full strength. That's crazy. See, I thought that Ashton was going to be playing, so I don't know. I for some reason in my mind, I'm like, oh, he'll be coming back at least this game. He should be good. But no, you just said he was out. So I was going to say they were going to win. Grambling. Yeah. This one might actually end in a tie. It's like no. Something is telling me that Grambling's gonna pull one out. They're emotional. That their quarterback is still that they're still up there. Sometimes when you have those games, like Valley last year went and beat FAMU after they lost their teammate. I feel like even though obviously he's still living, thank the Lord, but I feel like because is that I think that Grambling finds a way to come and to win, and they basically do it for him. So that's what I'm gonna say. Because looking at all this other stuff up here, the game is questionable within itself. So we're going to say that Graham's going to put out for their quarterback.
It's so funny. He said 8 in the box. He said, we got to play 8 in the box. Hey,
we're playing 7-on-7.
One thing about my A&M Bulldogs, unfortunately, that I think makes the difference in this game, is the fact of the way that they've been playing defense. And I think the thing with Darrensburg, and shout out to him, he got that clutch 4th and 9 last week. Came in with the game on the line and actually pulled it out. I think this is going to be a very, very low scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I put running backs Trey Bradford and Byron Eaton will have big roles, because one thing that A&M struggles with is stopping the run. And because of that, give me Grambling 21-17. I think it's going to be very close and low scoring. But it can go either way.
This is pretty high scoring, talking about low scoring.
Nah, in 2025, 21-17 is considered to be low scoring.
Yeah, okay. I mean, all right.
So what you're seeing?
No, what I'm saying is it's definitely going to be a defensive game for sure. I think the defenses are going to spend a lot of time on the field, so I hope they're prepared. Hope they got some extra Gatorade and hydration packs in there, some extra bananas and some pickle juice, and maybe packs of mustard. I don't know what they're going to need, but they're going to need it because they're going to be back and forth. It's going to be a highly defensive game. That's the only reason why I said it's kind of high, but if the quarterbacks can go in there and they just start, either they're going to run it or one of these quarterbacks is just going to be slinging that thing. Just throw it in the air. Just somebody catch
it. So that's what we got, man. And look, man, shout out to my girl. She said they need Bronski Towns tape playbook. That's our longtime defensive coordinator. Hey, they need something, man. Something, but yeah.
They need some milk.
Uncertainties at quarterback in this one. So I got Grambling taking this one down. All right, now everybody hit the like button, and now Jackson State fans. We are now into the final 2 games on our slate tonight. We got Jackson State coming in 5-2. And Rarity talking about them coming in off of a loss. They're now 3-1 in SWAC play, but they still control their own destiny to get to the SWAC championship game. And they face Florida A&M. Now, hey, at 2-1, this is Florida A&M's biggest opportunity. And it's really their last opportunity, because if they don't win this game, it's going to be pretty much playing down the stretch, playing the string. You win this game and you step up, now you are right there in the thick of things in the East. But first things first, we'll talk about the summary of this game. Bragg Memorial Stadium at night. This is the only game on the SWAC schedule that does not start at 3 p.m. Eastern. This one is a night game, 7 p.m. Eastern, down there in Bragg Memorial under the lights. They played last year in a great game in the vet last year, 35-21. This was the game where JSU forced those 2 late fumbles and returned them for touchdowns and took it on home to the house. All right, this game will be on ESPN Plus. So you've got Tiffany Green at her alma mater calling this game with Jay Walker doing his gimme fives. All right, some of the notes here. You got JSU, second in the FCS in rushing, 256 yards per game. And pay attention to that, because you look at the bottom of the screen in contrast, FAMU is 80th in the FCS in rush defense. Okay, 80th in the FCS in rush defense. Okay, freshman quarterback Jared Lockhart, first start on the road. He did start against Tuskegee earlier, but this is different now. He's taking his talents on the road. Okay, very talented freshman quarterback. TC Taylor has never lost 2 straight games as head coach. This is his 3rd season. Never lost 2 straight games as head coach. Okay, RJ Johnson for FAMU. He's turned it up here the last 2 weeks. I know it's been against Alcorn and Southern, but it still bears the mention that he turned it up last 2 weeks. 323 yards passing 2 weeks ago and 287 last week. The guy who has gotten this thing in order for them, Jamal Haley, running back. 157 yards rushing last week, 3 touchdowns. He stepped in for an injured Thad Franklin. So this game, both teams need it badly. Obviously, Jackson State, they needed to keep going in that SWAC East, holding the inside track and having the ability to control their destiny. FAMU, this is the ultimate quest for survival. This is your season right here. All right, I turn it over to you. What are your thoughts?
Well, 80th is diabolical. I can't even believe I'm reading that right now. I don't know what is this FAMU team. You see what happens when y'all don't let me at the games. This what happened. This what happened. I'm a good luck charm. Obviously I've followed and been with FAMU for about 3 seasons now. I am a huge fan, and I love me some Coach Cozy, and I have plenty of interviews and things with him. Like, that's my guy. Haven't been able to get down there to brag. And I don't think they're going to brag different in this game, unfortunately. I think that this Rattlers team has obviously it has a lot of injuries coming. Like, the injuries have been taking over, but somewhere something has changed. The tides have turned with this team, and they just aren't the FAMU team that I have seen the past 3 years. This team looks unrecognizable to me in a way, and it's no tea, no shade. I'm just saying from what I'm used to seeing from them. I'm not seeing the tenacity. I'm not seeing a lot of the discipline. I'm not seeing the all in, the buy-in, the we brag different. Like, that used to mean something, and it's like, where did it go? And I don't think that it's a Coach Cozy thing. I really don't, because he's been there for all the time, from being, from coming off as being a assistant coach or whatever to being head coach, and now being head coach. It's like, I don't know. I just don't know what FAMU's going through right now. I don't know what this team looks like. And again, it's probably because y'all ain't let your girl in all season. Ain't let me in all season. You know what I'm saying? So what happened? God don't like ugly. It's like, no, I'm kidding. And head coach TC Taylor, I just think that he's been just elite. Again, also coming from being a side guy to being the head guy, and just really continuing to have that buy-in and really turning the team into the team that he has projected and seen this team to be. And this team has been nothing less than that. They've been no slouches ever since. So I think that Jackson State continues to move on. I think that FAMU fights hard, because they do fight hard at home. They don't just get slapped around at home usually. So I think that they're going to fight it out. I love night games, especially in Bragg. I just love it underneath the lights. But I think that Jackson State continues to march on through. I think that we're looking at the top team in the SWAC East. So I think that's it. I think FAMU is a little too late. And that's just my opinion there. I think if it was maybe this was game 3, then they had time to really turn it around. So I don't know. I think that FAMU has to really go back to the drawing board and figure out what their offensive identity is, especially with that quarterback situation. Because my opinion, you can't start turning it up at the end of the season now, where it's like you need to win, or like your season's over. I hate to say it like that too, but it's like you wait till the latter half of the year to start turning your season up. No, you don't have time to get comfortable. You don't have time to be, I got 3 games to settle in. No, you don't. You don't got 3 games to settle in. You got 2 at max. Settle in, turn things around, and turn things up. Not around, but turn things up and keep it pushing. So,
yeah. So you've got JSU winning. All right. So for me, I'll say this about this game. As I've already said, there's a whole lot of urgency on both sides. And if you would have told me a few weeks ago that this game would have that both teams would have a lot on the line, I'm saying both teams. I would have thought, obviously, Jackson State has always had something on the line. But if you would have told me that FAMU would have had something to play for in this game besides bragging rights, I would not have believed it. What I did see from FAMU last week, I did see something that was different. I didn't really give them a whole lot of credit against Alcorn, because Alcorn was a struggling team. And it was an ugly game against Alcorn. Okay. There was a lot of things that they did wrong, especially on special teams. They gave up a punt return. They missed a field goal. There was a lot of different things that went on. But that game that they played last week against Southern, they executed. That was the best game that they played all season. Okay. In all 3 phases. And that's something that I took notice of. Now, for Jackson State, Jared Lockhart is super, super talented. I fell in love with this kid when I saw him play against Tuskegee. The way he is just slippery with being able to extend plays, He runs, and also he can throw the ball, okay? This game right here is imperative for Coach James Colsey. If you got anything left in that chamber, you need to unleash it right now. Defensively, you're going to have to really disguise a lot of your coverages. You're going to have to try to confuse this young kid. Now, I do believe that Jackson State has their struggles in the early goings, maybe in the first half. But in the end, I think that just the staff with Rip Kirk, offensive coordinator, because, the way that he's been dialing up plays, he's been in his bag all year. And also the way they run the football. If they're not able to throw it, Jackson State, they can lean on that run game. They can hand it to Ahmad Miller. They can hand it to Dontario Davenport. They can hand it to Travis Terrell. They can hand the ball off, and they can get to the finish line with that. I think it's a bit of a closer game, though, ladies and gentlemen. I know everybody loves to say BTA and JSU by 40, but hey, listen, I think it's going to be a 4-quarter game, but give me Jackson State pulling away to win this game. And now let me also say this before I move to our last game, Jackson State fans and everybody in the chat. What's important to realize in this game is this is just like how Al Davis used to say, just win, baby. It don't matter about style points. What you need to try to do in this game, if you're Jackson State, you need to be able to develop some confidence, okay? Develop some confidence in your young quarterback because you're gonna possibly need him to win you some big games down the stretch. You may need him to win this game here, but this is about developing your confidence and developing your attitude and get down the road and get out of there with a win. And I believe you do, all right? So now we turn to the game of the week. And oh, what a precious game it is down there in Blackshear Field down there in Prairie View, Texas. You got Alabama State coming in off of a very impressive performance in the Magic City Classic at 5-2 and 3-1 in SWAC play, right there in the thick of things in the East. And you've got Prairie View coming off of winning its homecoming game. They're a perfect 4-0 in SWAC play. This is the first game that Prairie View has against an Eastern Division team. This is their first of their 3 crossover games in SWAC play. All right. 3:00 Eastern. When they played last year in the season finale, it was 9-6. I can guarantee you this game will not be 9-6. All right. That is my one guarantee for everyone in America right now. This game will not be 9-6. All right. Now let's get into the stats here. Okay. You've got Alabama State. They're 15th in the FCS in turnover margin. They've got 10 takeaways versus just turning it over 5 times. All right. That matters a whole lot, especially in big games when you go on the road. They are 29th in the nation in passing, 246, and they're 5th in rushing. So their offense has been in fine-tune the entire season, okay? On the other side, though, Prairie View, not to be outdone, they're 2nd in defending the pass, 141 yards per game. And they're right there in the middle about rush yards allowed, 146 yards rushing. That's not bad. Tied for 54th. That's right there, middle of the road. You can live with that, okay? But then here's the other one. They're tied for 7th in turnover margin. They've taken it away 14 times and only given it away 6. So you're looking at 2 teams that take care of the football. And when you're talking about big games on the road and big games in general, mistakes are paramount. So neither one of these teams have been giving the ball away. And you look at how Alabama State excels in rushing and in passing. But you see Prairie View 2nd in overall passing yards allowed. Remember that for when I get down the list here. All right, now I got game keys for both teams, and then I'll turn it over to you, Dez. Here are my game keys for Alabama State. You need to continue to force turnovers. Yeah, I just told you that stat on the other screen that Prairie View don't turn the ball over. They take it away. Well, you need to be able to buck that trend because additional possessions can wear down that Prairie View defense. All right, Andrew Body, just as I said during the Jackson State game, you got to use your supporting cast and be special when they need you to be. He's got a really good supporting cast. Holtzclaw, Ligon, Kuykendall, running backs, Jones, the Jet. You got some really good receivers, okay? Use your supporting cast. You got a really good offensive line. Defensively, they got to force the Panthers to be one-dimensional. One thing the Panthers have done pretty well is they've been able to run the ball. So what you got to do, you got to try to take away that rushing attack and force them to pass. And also, lastly, for you guys, embrace the role of being a villain. Make Prairie View prove to you that they're a tough team, okay? They yes, on paper and everything that we've seen, they're a pretty tough team, but make them prove it to you, okay? That's my keys for Alabama State. And then lastly, I got my game keys here for Prairie View. Just like I said about Alabama State, you got to continue to take care of the ball. Don't give Alabama State extra possessions. They don't need any more help than they already get, okay? And their passing attack. You got to be solid enough to keep the Hornet defense off balance because here's the thing. If you can't throw it and they know you can't throw it and they put some guys in the box, they're going to make you struggle in that running game. Then also defending Body and Alabama State. They either run it or throw it. They cannot do both. If they do both of those things well, you do not win this game, Prairie View. And then also, no stalled drives. When they've struggled, they've stalled on drives. Touchdowns will win this game, not field goals. And lastly, your two big stud running backs, Bingman and McDowell. If they're rolling, keep feeding them. Follow them. All right, so off everything I said before we make our picks, what do you think about this game? And then you give me your pick of this big game. This is humongous game.
Yeah, I actually took before, like I've all the games, I took notes on just looking at the quarterbacks because I think just from what we're talking about, quarterback precision to me is what's going to be one of those deciding factors in this game. Obviously, as you know, the defense wins you the ball game, but your quarterback precision is going to be something that's super duper important. And looking at their stats and just the completion rate and just looking at just how effective they are. And then looking at the teams that PV has beaten, is this going to be a game like this is going to be one of their true testaments of how great they are or can be within the SWAC. And I also want to start by saying like this Andrew Body is a very different Andrew Body. Looking at him and where he's come from, I've followed his journey along the way. I've had plenty of interviews with him as well, and just seeing how he has come and overcome so much, where he's finally getting his moment. He's finally stepping into that quarterback play that he has said that he was and that he could do. And everybody was like, "Well, we were just waiting to see it. when is it coming? When's it coming? It's finally here." So last game, 79.2% completion rate. The game before that against Jackson State, 66.7% completion rate. Their issue is playing a team like a Jackson State. They stumbled, and that's meeting on in the head-to-head. You can't lose in your head-to-heads, right? So it's like, okay, you lost to a team like Jackson State, and what did they do to really force that win, right? So Jackson State, he threw an interception. Jackson State applied that pressure and got to him. So if you look at that, if PV looks at exactly what Jackson State did and they replicate that, they turn it down, like throwing for 304 yards. And then the game before that, 349 yards. They're going to have to cut some of that. He's not afraid to put it in the air. So the air play is going to be something that's there. For the season, last game he had 5 touchdowns, but against Jackson State he had 1 touchdown. So obviously 2 different calibers of teams that you're playing. So you really have to look at that like this. You can't look at this Magic City Classic and just say, oh yeah, look at the game right before then. I think if you look at that and see how you can beat them and what is going to work, I think that PV has a chance here efficiently. Alabama State should win this game just based off of looking at just quarterback play, because looking at Cameron Peters, 1 interception so far on the season, and just looking at like both of just their stats in general. And yes, they beat up Southern team, but he's thrown for 224 yards. The game last week, 243 yards, 61 completion rate. So you're looking at a 61 completion rate compared to a 79.2 completion rate. There's more precision coming out of Andrew Body. So if Cameron Peters really wants to get his team on the mark, you got the run game, you got to get it going. But you cannot be afraid to take those shots down the field. And that's going to be super duper important, and making sure that he does not turn that ball over, because don't, as you said, don't allow him to do it. Don't give them any extra. You can't give him any leeway, because at the end of the day, the quarterback precision is going to be a key factor coming into this. This game is not just big because both teams are really, really good. This team is also big based off their quarterbacks. Both these quarterbacks coming in uniquely and being special in their own way, and their precision is really what's going to make the difference. So analytic wise, they're saying based off of like the quality wins, the strength of schedule, because that's the thing, strength of schedule, and just seeing how PV has won these games compared to Alabama State and what they have been doing and how they've won these games. The stats say that Alabama should be winning this game. That's what the stats say.
Well, what does Dez Barnes say?
Dez says, I don't know, it's kind of hard. I don't know. I feel like they're gonna be on one.
Do you think Alabama State runs away with this?
I don't think it's gonna be a runaway. I don't think it's gonna be another Magic City class. I don't see that. I don't foresee that. I see it more coming in as like a Jackson State, and I don't even know the score for that game. What the score was for that game?
It was 38-34.
Yeah, I see it being something like that. Like both of these offenses are really, really good. I see it being very close in that way. And I don't know, normally I'm on the side of the analytics. I'm like, well, analytics say that Alabama should win, so Alabama should win. But this is a time for Prairie View to really put their money where their mouth is. This is a time for them to do it. If this is no other game, this is the game where you quiet the noise in a way to say, like, we are running the West. So,
all right. So you're going with Prairie View. She's going with Prairie View, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. She's got Prairie View.
Am I going with Prairie View? I don't know. I haven't watched too much of Prairie View. I haven't watched too much of either of these teams for me to know. I'm just going literally off the stats analytics. So I don't know. Do I go with the more successful, higher ranked quarterback? Do I go with the Body, or do I go with the Peters?
Yeah. Well, you're fine. So I'll tell you this. All right. The stakes, obviously, Prairie View, they want to win this game, because if they can win this game, they stay unbeaten in league play, and being unbeaten in league play will guarantee that they'll host the SWAC championship game at the end of the season. Right? Alabama State, obviously, they got helped out last week with Jackson State losing. They need one more Jackson State loss, but they also need to keep winning. So everything is on the line in this game. People say, and I see it here in the comments, people are saying, like I see it right here, PV is so overrated. All PV does well is capitalize off other team mistakes. They're disciplined, but not a championship team for as far as playmaking. And then, then he says PV schedule is soft as cottonelle toilet tissue. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, looking at the analytics and strength of schedule, looking at who these teams have beaten and gone against, being on the side of analytics are saying there's Alabama State should be winning this game. So it's like looking at, because LC Ellen is what? What is that? Lincoln?
Yeah, that ain't nothing.
You're gonna like that Lincoln 38-0. That means nothing because you're playing a team. That's not giving me like, it's not giving me the hopes and the butterflies. Is like, yeah, this team is really, really good. So if they want to beat, they want to go against the overrated, sayings and statements against them, then they're gonna have to bring one out. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna side with the analytics because I don't know. I haven't watched these two teams really much at all this season. And if analytics say that Alabama should win, then Alabama should be winning.
All right. Well, for me, I think Prairie View is going to come out. They're going to play really, really well in this game. And I think that this is a game that they've definitely had circled for a long time, because this is a game that really can prove and shut the folks up, the people who are saying that they're not really as good as their schedule shows, or people say they play down to the level of their competition. But listen, man, I think that Alabama State, just the sense of urgency that they have, and I think with Eddie Robinson, knowing that he has this moniker of somebody that doesn't win big games, I think that they come to Prairie View and they finally get one done. And I got a close 4-quarter game. I got Alabama State winning 31-28 in this one. Close 4-quarter game. And also, I see this being a really, really hard-hitting game at that.
Yeah.
Prairie View, listen, and I know Sarah Brass, if you're watching, you're probably going to try to get on me for this, but listen, I have a ton of respect for what Prairie View is, and I'm not buying into the fact that they're not good. I'm not saying that. This more has a lot to do with how Alabama State is than what Prairie View is. And he says, no way. Where will PV get the offense? Well, one thing about that is, here Tiger Nation, is Alabama State tends to give up some on defense too. So hey,
where would they get the offense?
Hey, so that's where I'm at with it. I think PV is going to really, really perform and play well, but I got Alabama State winning this game by 3. And that's really where it's at, man. So now here we go. These were my picks last week. It was a tough week for your boy last week. I was 7-5. Tennessee State burnt me, losing 17-16. Campbell burnt me by giving up 2 kick returns in the 4th quarter to lose by 4. Jackson State got everybody, but that's okay, you know. Then I rolled with North Carolina Central. Man, Delaware State. I ain't picking against them boys no more. And then Morgan State, that game went, you saw that game. That was overtime. So, hey, I was this close to probably being Morgan State, Campbell, and Tennessee State could have won. I was this close to possibly being 10-2 last week. But anyway, 94-26 is my yearly record. I think that's all right. I think I might get an extension with that. And then for those who are just tuning in or haven't seen the early part of the game, these are all of my picks for this week. I got Lindenwood over Tennessee State, Towson in a close one over North Carolina A&T, Texas Southern beating Alcorn, Bethune-Cookman over Valley. Southern getting on the board against UAPB. I got South Carolina State over Morgan State. I got Grambling over my Bulldogs. North Carolina Central getting back in the winner's circle over Howard. Delaware State, I got them big tomorrow night over Norfolk and Philly. Give me Jackson State outlasting FAMU. And then same thing with Alabama State over Prairie View. So those are my picks for very, 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 very good week number 10. And Ms. Dez Barnes, this has been great. I had so much fun. So much fun with you tonight. And, for your contributions and your humor and all that good stuff. So tell the ladies and gentlemen where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me at all social media platforms at PG Love Sports, or you can just type it in Pretty Girls Love Sports. And I know that the name is Pretty Girls, but it's actually for everyone. Okay, so I got a lot of men over there. They just, some of them like to come at my throat. I do like to argue sometimes, not every time, but sometimes I do have time to argue. But PG Love Sports on all social media platforms. That's where you can find me.
Yeah, and we're gonna work some more together. This is just the start. We gonna work together some more. Hopefully you be at the Celebration Bowl. I'll be there in Atlanta in December. I'll be doing Radio Row again like I did last year, game day, all that good stuff. We're gonna do it all, everything. And then I know you're gonna be at SWAC Media, all that good stuff, man. We just gonna keep it rolling. The ship never stops. We just keep going.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I know that HBCU is they start my year and they kind of end my year, but in between time, in the meantime, I'm doing other conferences and things. But I always make sure I have my connects and ties to the HBCU world, of course. So yeah, we're in there.
Yeah, and I see some questions in the chat said, who will GSU have at quarterback? Eamon Derensberg, the third stringer. He's the freshman quarterback. He's going to be the starter. Mickey Joseph already said he'll be the starter. So hey, this was great. So we'll catch up again. Definitely get at me, and you're gonna look at everybody gonna be talking in the comments. People gonna watch this back, they're gonna look at this stuff, but this is all fun, this is all good stuff. So I appreciate you for coming on tonight and spending time with your boy. All right,
of course. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. I'll see you next time. All right, and that is my girl Dez Barnes. Pretty Girls Love Sports. Y'all saw it. Y'all know where to follow her. Hey, everybody, tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, and I will be back with you on Sunday night, recapping this week number 10. We got a great one coming up on Sunday night. Gonna be a lot to discuss. Y'all know it's gonna be a lot to discuss, but I'll be right here with you, boy. Enjoy all the games. We get started tomorrow night there in Philly, ESPNU for Norfolk State against Delaware State. So, yeah, thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. See you next time.
Thank you for joining us on the ride with Wild Wayne Cartwright. As you exit the ride, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the like button, and catch up on all of our prior episodes. Until next time, God bless.